The rules are that we can only use the same things L had access to in the story. We won't use anything else that's science fiction.
The police have now identified the suspect as 42-year-old Kuro Otoharada, currently unemployed. We expect negotiations to begin immediately.
Heart attack victims? A bunch of criminals around the world are dying from heart attacks and nobody knows why. Interpol wants me, L, the greatest detective, to figure out what's going on. As I do research, I find that the cases for heart attacks surrounding criminals started in Japan. After more searching, I find that one of the first victims was broadcast only in the Kanto region of Japan. I can conclude that this person is most likely someone in the Kanto region of Japan. I also start to notice that the patterns of deaths of criminals from heart attacks are only happening in between certain intervals of time. Therefore, I am able to conclude that Kira might be a student. I start to work with the Japanese police to obtain information. Before completely joining the police yet, I decide to research the members and pick out the ones who might be more trustworthy and useful. The ones that I see are the most of these qualities are Chief Yagami, Kanzo Maji, and Yukita. I tell these officers the information that I already know. I give one piece of information for each of them to hold on to. The chief holds on to the information regarding Kira possibly being a student. Maji holds on to Kira possibly being in the Kanto region of Japan. And Yukita holds on to how Kira might be getting his information only through the internet.
I'll show the world what happens when you cross me. The entire world is watching. L.
After working together with the police for a while and getting no other information from Kira, I decide to make a broadcast provoking a reaction out of Kira. I have a criminal which hasn't been publicly detained and is scheduled to be executed pose as a fake L on live television that's only being broadcasted in the Kanto region of Japan. I tell Kira that I will catch him and that he is evil. This provokes Kira enough to kill the fake L on TV. I reveal to Kira that the person he killed was a fake and that I have gotten some useful information from Kira by him killing this man. Knowing that Kira is a student, I inform Kira that this wasn't an actual worldwide broadcast and that it was actually only broadcast in the Kanto region of Japan. Now we can see how Kira reacts to this. Knowing that Kira is a student, he won't be able to just move away to avoid me. After this confrontation, I decide to limit some of the criminals' names being broadcast so Kira can't kill as many of them. While I do this, I make sure that the names that are being broadcast are being kept with the 3 police officers helping me. Yagami, Maji, and Yukita will each be given a list of criminals' names that haven't been broadcast or put on the internet. If Kira tries to find any of these criminals' names and any of them end up dying, then we know which police officer Kira got the names from. As well, Yagami still holds on to the fact that Kira is a student, and Yukita still holds on to the information about how Kira gets his information.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm gonna tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out. You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
A week after the broadcast, I decide to have my assistant Watery meet with the 3 police members helping me at a hotel to discuss our information and to become more knowledgeable of each other. Watery will act like me in a way to make the other officers assume Watery is L. Watery will have what looks like hearing aids in, but it will actually be a way for me to communicate to Watery what I want him to say to the 3 officers. We will be more trusting of each other this way as well because they met face to face with who they think is L. I inform them that Kira needs a name and a face to kill. During this time, Kira has started to change his killing patterns. They happened each hour on the hour. This seems to specifically contradict the idea that Kira could be a student. If Kira could decide the time of death, why didn't he do so before? This shows that Kira must have got access to police information, specifically from Chief Yagami. I know by now Chief Yagami isn't Kira, as he was able to meet with the supposed L and I was able to interview him. So it must be someone with close ties to Chief Yagami, more specifically his family. I get in contact with the FBI and have each one of the Yagami family members be investigated. One agent on Sei Yagami, another agent on Sachiko Yagami, another on Chief Yagami just in case, and one more agent on Light Yagami. The FBI agents would also be informed about the current information I have on Kira. I tell the agents to investigate them each for about a week, then wait 1 week and start investigating them again, but have FBI agents alter who they're investigating. As well, I'd give these 4 agents fake IDs in case they ever had to use them and to inform me about who they shared their fake ID with if they ever had to use them. Within the first week of the FBI investigation, Kira starts to kill criminals from prison in strange ways. From this, Kira seems to be testing his ability to control his victims' actions before they die. I tell Chief Yagami to hold on to this information. A week later, I'm informed by one of the FBI agents whose real name is Raye Penber that he had showed his fake ID to Light Yagami during a bus jacking in which the bus jacker died afterwards. I tell him to continue his investigation but keep a wiretap on himself whenever he leaves the house and to inform me when he does so I can listen. If he were to ever get in trouble, try to describe the situation out loud as if you were talking to yourself. A week later, while Raye is out, someone stops him and tells him that he will die if he turns around and that he's Kira. The person talking to Raye sounds just like Light Yagami, and I record the voice for later. Kira threatens Raye to do what he says or he'll kill his loved ones. Raye is handed an envelope and heads onto a train while still talking to Kira. Kira asks about the other FBI agents and wants to know their names and faces. I'd send the fake names of the FBI agents along with fake names to Raye. Kira tells Raye to write these names in the spaces on the sheets of paper. I tell Raye to get off at the next stop and to ignore Kira, telling him Kira can't kill you, he doesn't have your real name, and to bring whatever Kira gave you to me. Kira would say whatever he wanted but wouldn't be able to do anything. I'd get the pages from the death note and see what was written on them. I see the handwriting is also similar to Light Yagami's handwriting. From the paper that Raye brought to me from Kira, I can deduce that Kira intended to get Raye to kill the other FBI agents, and perhaps writing their names on a piece of paper is how they are killed.
But before this conversation goes any further, there's something I must tell you.
What's that?
I suspect that you, Light Yagami, are in fact Kira.
I later go to investigate Light Yagami's house while the Yagami family is away from home. I specifically only search Light's room for anything with similar paper to the ones I got from Raye Penber when I finally stumble across a diary in the top drawer of Light's desk. I find it strange he left the key in the drawer but don't think too much of it. I find the diary to not have similar pages as the paper from Raye. However, the drawer itself looks strange. I notice the bottom of the top drawer doesn't line up with the actual body of the drawer from outside and assume there might be a fake bottom. While examining the drawer, I also notice a small hole underneath it. Finding something small and firm enough, I fit it into the hole and pop out the fake bottom to see the death note and a fire trap. I confiscate the death note and confront Light with all the evidence and am able to prove the notebook is real as well as Light being Kira, and that's how I would beat Kira. But what do you think? Is there a better way to do it? Let me know in the comments.